All, accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers. Special announcement. New destinations have been announced. Please be advised and plan accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers. Special announcement. New destinations have been announced. Please be advised and plan accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers. Special announcement. New destinations have been announced. Please be advised and plan accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers. Special announcement. New destinations have been announced. Please be advised and plan accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers. Special announcement. New destinations have been announced. Please be advised and plan accordingly. All aboard. Attention, all passengers.
Hey, hello, good morning, everyone. I'm very excited and happy to welcome us this morning to Flutter Festival About 2022. This has been a long time coming. We have been preparing and anticipating to be here, and it's finally here. This is the very first campaign or event we're having as a community, and that brings so much memory as regards to how we used to be with community engagement. But for that festival, it is quite different this time around because not it only being the first event we're having in the year, but also being the first event we're having amidst the restructuring we're trying to bring to the community. And it's also the first event that's going to bring about so many other events happening within the community, as against skill improvement, job applications, and all the business that comes within community technology. We're going to be having, since it's an online event, we wouldn't be staying too long because attention span online is quite short. And so we will be spending at least 1 hour and a few minutes. You talk about Flutter, all around, talk about carriers in Flutter, and we're going to look at how to build our first Flutter app. And then we'll look at, someone building an amazing product on Play Store using Flutter. He's going to talk about, how he's doing that and what the app does, and definitely going to have engagement to build or support the product on the Play Store. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Flutter App Challenge coming up. What's going to entail, who are to participate, how isolation process is going to be made, and the other things like that. So for those who can't join due to certain circumstances, the replay is always up on YouTube and on Facebook. So we're streaming currently on Facebook and YouTube, and after this, is going to be there for you to go back and review and get to relive memories that we're going to share today. All right. So my name is Trust Onyekwere. Yes, I did not start with my name. Sorry about that. My name is Trust Onyekwere. I'm the lead for GDG Aba, and I have with me Benjamin backstage, who is assisting the team with the technical support, and we have our three speakers rather, who are also backstage. All right. So we're going to start with Emmanuel Sunday. So we're going to go over careers in Flutter development. Emmanuel Sunday is a software engineer currently focused on backend engineering, but he has been, on and off, or he has also been dabbling with Flutter for a very long time as a Flutter engineer, building applications for brands and top organizations. So he's going to talk about briefly how he started the Flutter journey, what it was like being a Flutter developer, and we're going to go over questions the audience has. It's going to be quite a conversation. He will tell a story, how he went from zero to a paid developer using Flutter and other technologies is all about. So I'll bring Monday Sunday up on stage now, and we're going to have a conversation, around that. Hi, Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Trust. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, very excited to have you here today. So this is Flutter Festival Aba, and we're so excited to have you here. Very privileged to make up your time to come and share your knowledge with us and tell your story, and how your developer journey has been over these past few years, and coming to learn from it and begin to follow, suits on how to also grow their own careers. So yeah, we are all
Yeah.
listening to what you have for us today.
All right. Hello, guys. Good morning. This beautiful Saturday morning, and depending on what time you're watching this, good afternoon and good evening. All right. For me, my engineering process or history has been an interesting one. I have almost messed with quite a number of things. I've dealt with the web, with HTML and CSS and things like that. But I would say the turning point, or one of the major turning points in my career was practically when I finally met Flutter. Yeah. So Flutter, for me, actually, programming or software engineering is kind of an empowerment because it makes me feel like I can do things, I can make things happen. You write code here, and then something happens somewhere. You orchestrate people's lives with code. So we thought that was another opportunity to do just that. Um, I initially dealt with Java, building Android apps with Java, but when I got to Flutter, it was, I think I'd say, very easier. Okay, which is why we are sort of Flutter advocates because it makes life easier. You get to deploy um, from one code base into several platforms. Right now, we support web, Android, iOS, and the rest of them. So it was really mind blowing for me, especially because of how beautiful Flutter applications look. And like I already mentioned, I was able to publish apps on the Android Play Store, the iOS App Store, yeah, and drive engagement, with these apps. All right. So briefly, I'll be talking about positioning yourself to land more Flutter jobs. And then this probably is just me telling a story about how I was able to navigate the industry to the point where I am right now. Okay. So back forward to 2 years ago, that was 2020. Okay. I was, I'd say I was uncomfortable with not having made, so much money yet from software engineering. Yeah, then I started looking up things I could do. I didn't actually have a personal brand at the time. Okay, I did not. I hadn't built myself for the public, face. Let me put it that way. Yeah, so I started off. That was the year I created my LinkedIn account. Okay, so I think branding is the most important thing, I would say, because if you are the best engineer in your community, in your city, and nobody knows about it, or they can't really place this behavior or this personality, or there's no connection with your person and this software engineering personality, then you haven't really done a nice job, because nobody knows about you and nobody can tell what you can do. Yeah. So I think I'd say I was a pretty decent engineer. I had a lot of people coming to me say they want to learn this, they want to learn that, and I would guide them and I watch them go places, and I would still be where I was. Yeah. So that was an uncomfortable time for me. So I decided at the time to set up a LinkedIn account, go ahead and get on Twitter. Even I'm still working on the Twitter thing now, but LinkedIn, I would say, is one of the fertile grounds for building your or brand as a person. Yeah, when I say brand, I don't just mean a company. I mean you as a person, what people see, yeah, online. Yeah, so I got on LinkedIn. I started posting screenshots of the things I was doing, which is very important, because LinkedIn is not just a social network. Okay, it is a place for meeting your potential employers and employees, connections, and all of that. People that can recommend you and help you navigate this whole thing. So that was it for me on LinkedIn. I started posting things, screenshots. I'd say I'd be counting up to the, because I had several apps I was working on at the same time at the time. So I would post their screenshots, say this is going to be released very soon on the Play Store and you can get your hands on them. I was teasing the crowd. People were getting engaged by my content. They were liking, they were commenting. I was getting connection requests and all of that. Yeah, 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I was sorry about that again. Yeah. So I was getting connection requests from people all over the world, and it was pretty fun for me because I was confined to my community at the time. So with the online um, presence, I was able to connect with people across the borders. Yeah. So yeah. So talking about branding, then the engagement that you kind of push with your audience in the online space. So that is very important. Yeah. Forward. Sorry, can you hear me? I believe you can hear me. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
All right. Thank you. Then going forward, the content you publish on your online pages is very important, because as a Flutter engineer, you don't want to uh, confuse your audience. There's something specific, right, that you are actually looking for. All right. So you want to present um, this accurate face of yourself. Okay, let me iterate on that. So I think I can give an example. As a Flutter engineer, you shouldn't go ahead to let's say you dabbled with HTML today, okay, and then you are most proficient with Flutter. You don't want to go and confuse your audience that you are more of a web developer than you are of a Flutter developer, because the strength you present is what is going to help get people to contact you. So that's the ultimate idea, to get people to reach out to you. Yes. So then at the time I would sketch on my paper, on my notepad. I'd sketch something, and then I would build the Flutter equivalent. I'd say send the screenshot. I'll be like, yeah, I might not be a designer, but I'm a Flutter engineer. You know, that sort of a thing. And people, that particular post it was a it was an interesting one, because from there I got people that were recommending me for jobs. Okay, just because they saw that I drew something on paper, and then I did it on my laptop, and I could show what I did. Yeah, so it was really nice. So another thing you must do, in addition to the content you provide online, uh, you must contribute to the open source community. Yeah, I know most people don't like contributing to the open source community. It feels like it is too much work, or uh, out of this world, but it's not that difficult. Um, Flutter is already a beautiful ground. It's no longer new, but it is still a fertile ground to contribute to. You don't have to contribute to Flutter itself, even though you can and you should. But you can go ahead. The packages you use on Flutter, the pub.dev registry, the packages you use from there, you could find something that you don't like or that you would wish you had. Okay. In that case, you can go ahead, go to the GitHub repository of such package, make a pull request, contact the person who originally deployed, or person who's maintaining the package. Contact them. Everything is on GitHub. Contact them. Make your PRs. Then once your PRs get merged, go on LinkedIn, go on Twitter, talk about the PR, talk about everything you've done. Uh, it is very, very important, the things you do with your GitHub. Then in your free time, okay, depending on how grown your your person is in the Flutter community, you can go ahead, build apps. Okay, build apps, post them on your GitHub, because I've had several cases, even at the point where I had to help interview some people, that I would have to go to their GitHub, and because there isn't so much on their GitHub profile, nothing can really happen for them, because I can't find anything. Yeah, so it is important for you to take your GitHub very seriously, because that is what substantiates all the claims you make on LinkedIn and on your social media. Yeah, with GitHub, people can say, yeah, he really actually does this. He knows this, he knows that, he knows that sort of a thing. So, and actually, this doesn't really just concern Flutter. At every point in your development career, your engineering career, it's important for you to present this credible public face of yourself. Okay. Someone is saying something in the comment box. Yeah, it says, is that okay? I think we would take the question at some point. But yeah, let me round up. I'm not
Yeah,
sure how long I.
we'll take the questions at some point. Yes.
Okay, okay, beautiful. Yes, so I don't know how long I have. Yeah, but um, just to round up with this, Flutter is a very, very, very okay. Yeah, it's a very, very important and I'd say lucrative uh, framework. Let me put it that way. That you can learn. For those of us that are still new working with Flutter, I cannot overemphasize how how legit it is because that was my that was the point where I got off. Okay, that was the point where I took the leap from Flutter. That was how I could get into the different spaces that I have come into now. Yeah, so I guess that'll be from me.
Yeah.
I think I can questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
If you have
definitely
any.
have a few questions. Yeah, to bring your section to life and to more context.
Yeah.
So the questions I have first was, what were you doing before you moved to Flutter?
Okay, that's a good question. I was everywhere. Yeah, actually, I'd say I got into school, uh, not really knowing or having guidance on what to do. Okay, I wasn't an engineer before I got into school, so I got into school. I met some people, and I liked the things they were doing, so I started learning HTML. I learned HTML, I learned CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. Uh, and I wanted to learn mobile development. Okay, so I worked with Java. Okay, that was the most recent thing before Flutter. So I worked with Java, but I wouldn't say I got really good at it for mobile engineering with Android. But that was I'd say Java was the first programming language that actually made sense for me. Yeah. So from Java, I I actually the way it happened was I went to a certain event like that in school, and then I saw somebody on their MacBook, and they had this Flutter screen, looking at me with the iOS simulator thing and their VS Code by the left. First, I was like, "How are you writing apps with VS Code?"
Yeah.
Because it was either Android or the Xcode. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so it was really mind troubling for me at the time. So so I asked them, what is this? Because I saw this card, this debit card thing that we do with apps now. The card looked so beautiful, and the screen was an iOS simulator. It looked so beautiful that I had to ask the guy, what exactly is this? He said it was Flutter. That day was the day that I changed my life. I moved away from native Android and moved to Flutter. And since then, it was pretty much easy to learn. Okay. Um, Within 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, I I had my first app deployed to the Play Store. Yeah. So I guess that was
Yeah.
it.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. So, how did you learn Flutter? Did you do YouTube videos, or did you buy Udemy courses, or you went to a bootcamp?
Okay. Um, I have an interesting life, I believe. I would say. Uh, yeah. So the way I learned it, actually, I had this friend who I asked for videos. I asked him to because he had a course. I think it was a Udemy course on Flutter. So I asked him for his videos, his course, and he gave them to me. But the issue then was that Flutter has gone through several changes. That even at the time when I was trying to learn it, uh, the ones the resource I had was outdated. Yes. So I couldn't go so far with it. So I referred back to the Flutter.dev website. Then it wasn't even so documented as it is now because now it is massive. So back then it was just the layouting thing. You build the layout, and then the column row, blah blah blah, all of those things. So I after doing that, it was pretty because I had an idea that I wanted to work on, which is something I would advise everybody who's learning anything. Okay, try as much as possible to get something that you would like to work on. Okay, as you proceed. So Nigeria just give us light back. Yeah.
All right.
So get something that you would like to work on and learn as you're working on that thing. So for me, it would be I want to do this. I don't know how to do it. I would go to Stack Overflow, I would search, and I would get someone who has done it, and I would do it. And before long, I would be able to do them myself and even find patterns because programming is a pattern language. That is how I see it. So something happens
Okay.
like this before, it happens like this again. You should be able to infer how it would happen in the future. Okay. Example would be managing states. Okay, in Flutter or in any front end framework, you're managing states. Um, Today it was a switch button. You wanted to move the selection from this particular widget to another widget. Then you saw how they did it. Tomorrow they did it this other way. One day when you want to do something out of the ordinary, something that you've never seen before, you will just infer that because it's happened like this before, you can transfer states like this, you can do this, you can do that. So that was a journey for me. But at no point did I actually
All
know
right.
everything. Um,
Yeah.
at every point there was something new I was kind of adding to the knowledge. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
I
is
know
it.
I know that you are so good at Flutter. I mean, I can testify that firsthand. Although we have two questions from the audience, so before that happens, I'd like to ask mine. So you mentioned that okay. Before I go into the
Okay.
LinkedIn part of it, how did you get your first gig, your first paying gig?
Okay, interestingly, my first paying gig was not with Flutter. Okay. Practically was from a recommendation from someone at the hub, the Red 5 Tech Hub, Aba. Uh, he he got a gig. Actually, he knew that I had some HTML background, so he got a gig and then he told me. But then it was it was a weird one because he didn't pay so much, but that was my first paid gig. But my first real gig was with Flutter. Yes, and when the money came in, it was mind
Yeah,
blowing.
that's the gig I'm asking about, the Flutter gig. How did it come about?
Okay,
So
yeah.
was it
So
through LinkedIn or was it recommendations? How did it come?
okay, I have two stories on that. One was with LinkedIn and one was without LinkedIn. Okay, but I think I should just go ahead with one of LinkedIn. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the main one was with LinkedIn. The other ones were child's play. Yeah. So on LinkedIn, because I would apply to several jobs on LinkedIn. Actually, I love engineering because or software engineering because that's the one field where you don't practically need a certificate to start applying for jobs. So I was still in school then. I I would go on LinkedIn. I'll be searching the jobs. I'll be applying for everything that's Flutter. Flutter on I would applying. Nigerian, abroad, everywhere. But if you've done the LinkedIn job search, it's not very easy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
at some point, I had applied to the job. I applied to the job November 2020. Okay, and several jobs. Some would reply you with some rejection letter. Some would not reply you. Yeah. But January 2021 was when I was going through my mail. Okay, looking through all the jobs I've applied for, who got back to me, who did not get back to me. A certain job I applied for, a company in India. They they asked me a few questions and I answered, and they didn't get back to me. That was November. So that January, I replied them and I said, "How far? What exactly is going on?" You asked some question, I replied, did not get back to me. Funny enough, that night the guy replied saying, um, "Yeah, we've been busy. Can you jump on a call tonight?" I said, "Yes, let's go, let's do it." I had an interview with them. They gave me an assignment. I did it. The next day I submitted, and that was how I got my first gig. And it was when I told my friends, they were all shouting. Because I was at the time. Yeah, at the time it was the biggest thing at the time. Yeah, so with Flutter, you can go international. You can be employed in the States. You can be employed in the UK. I have guys employed everywhere, and they are working from here. So it's a very fertile ground. Many companies are moving from native to Flutter. So like I said earlier, it cannot be overemphasized what you can actually do with Flutter, and it
All
gets
right,
better
that's
by the
fine.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I grab. So let's take question from the audience very quickly. So the first question was one you saw earlier. Let me bring it up. Okay. So there a big difference between Flutter and Java? But we're going to have like an intro section to that. But just give your answer to this.
Okay. Out of the box, or just just giving you a straightforward answer. Straightforward answer. Is there a big
Yeah, yeah,
difference? Keyword on the big. There's no big difference between Flutter and Java. Okay. Actually, if you have JavaScript experience, if you have Java experience, if you have Kotlin experience, then pretty much okay. I think there's this question is a bit misleading. I think what you meant is there a big difference between Dart and Java, the programming languages? Because it wouldn't be fair to compare Flutter and Java, because Flutter is a framework. What you'd compare with Flutter would be Android itself, the Android SDK. Yeah.
which I think is
So
already different between both of them.
yeah, that one is no, totally different. But that and Java, not so much of a difference. If you're a Java developer, you would pick you would pick that within a week. Yeah. But then with Flutter, to pick on to then go with Flutter, because with Java, you need to learn, or with Java and then Android, you need to learn the XML and learn all the different things you need to learn. Yeah. But with Flutter, just knowing that is enough. And then within a few weeks, you pick up all the Flutter jargon and move with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question with that Val asks is quite similar. Is Flutter an app? I think you mentioned it's a framework.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
framework.
framework
It's
used
not
to
an
build
app.
apps. Yeah.
Yeah, you use Flutter to build apps, and the apps could be deployed on the web as web pages, web apps, as Android apps, iOS apps, Mac OS apps, Windows, Ubuntu for the Linux, and all of them. Yeah, it works everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Always
also
move around.
in the backend,
Okay.
that also can be deployed in the backend. Interestingly.
Oh, nice. So the last, second to last question, it's after switching from Java to
Yeah.
Flutter, which would you say is easier on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, so I would say that Java is at a okay, let's put Java at a 10. Okay. Flutter would put at a 4 or 3.5. 3.5.
So that would mean
In the
that you
scale
think that Java is a
of
lot easier.
no. Okay, I think that we are we should do this. Okay, in the difficulty level. Okay. So the lower the easier. Okay. Difficulty level. Java is at a 10. Yeah, because it's very verbose. Android itself is very complicated. A lot of hard-coded dependencies, working with XML. Even though there are some changes now that make things easier, but still it is very difficult. But with Flutter, you can deploy apps a lot faster. Okay, um, not so much dependencies or having to deal with the Android manifest and all of those things. You only deal with the Android manifest and the iOS configurations when you are doing some extra things, like say you wanted to read particular permission, you have to go to the manifest and add the permission settings. But
Yeah.
pretty much everything is easier with Flutter. So on the scale, um, Java on Android is at the level of 10 in the difficulty level, and Flutter is the level of 3.5 in the difficulty level. So it's
All right,
Java.
cool. We're almost rounding up there. This last question here is kind of similar to what I don't know if that's similar. Would the knowledge of
Mhm.
mobile native mobile language affect a Flutter newbie? Uh, I don't know if that question is clear
Okay.
now.
Yeah. It is clear. Okay, I think you're trying to say with Flutter, knowing Flutter, does it help you uh as a new, so knowing Android and native mobile languages, does it help you as a Flutter developer? Yes, it will, because you are conversant with a lot of mobile jargon. Um, if you are a Java developer or an Android developer, you'd already know the manifest, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And then there are things called what's the name again? Channels. What's it called? I think it's method channels. Okay, where you write platform specific code that you can call in Flutter. So assuming you wanted to do something that is extra, like say load some page that you want written in native mobile language like Android, you can call it from Flutter. And if you don't know the mobile language, you wouldn't really scale your Flutter game up to the highest level. So knowing Flutter, knowing any mobile language, okay, like say the Swift, working with the iOS, or the Android or Kotlin, or Java or Kotlin with Android, is a big plus to your Flutter engineering career. A friend once said to me, he said, um, you can never actually max your Flutter game if you don't know this mobile native languages, mobile frameworks. But the good thing is that with so many developers and engineers jumping on Flutter, actually, the only reason why you would need to write native is because there's something that you need to do that isn't already in a package on the pub.dev. Okay, so right now there are so many packages. You want to on Bluetooth, you want to listen to Wi-Fi, you want to do anything, you want to do everything practically. You'd find a package that already does it. So there practically it would be in very rare cases that you would need to write the native language, but knowing them is a big plus. Yeah.
All right, nice. So last question we have here is: do you still need any studios to use Flutter?
That question has a yes and a no answer. Yes, because yes, if you want to test your app on Android, if you want to deploy to the Android Play Store, you need the Android Studio, which comes with the Android SDK to build the apps the for the platform. So, but you don't actually need Android Studio to write the code. You can write the code on VS Code, practically any editing editor. Many editors now support Flutter. But if you want to say build for Android, you would need the Android Studio. Same thing goes to the Xcode. If you want to build for anything on the Apple ecosystem, you need the Xcode. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. That's fine. So thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. So we're hoping, we have confidence that you're always in the community for further questions to be asked. We are planning to have a sort of a non-conventional bootcamp like kind of training for those in the community, and Flutter is one of those trainings. And we would be reaching out, from time to time to give your input to certain things and get to answer questions the community has and see how we can begin to build more, software developers who can build using Flutter. And given the recent proper partnership, we really need all the help we can get to prepare the people. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
I,
very
I,
much.
I, as a last question, I'm just wondering if I should bring it up on the screen. I don't know if you can see that question.
Okay. I can
Is
see
it
it.
something you
Can
can
you mention some of
answer,
your work?
or can you
Yeah, I
maybe
think,
type
yeah.
it? Okay.
Okay. Type. Okay. Well, anyway, if you go to the Play Store, the most recent one, before I kind of switch to backend, is TIGG. It's available on the Play Store and on the App Store. That's for iOS. And if you have you have these OSs, these devices, you can actually test and you would see that the flow on both of them is the same, thanks to Flutter. And of course, you can actually make the flow different based on platform, based because of what you want to achieve and things like that. Yeah, because some of these OSs kind of try to push you into a certain direction. But these two apps are deployed. Uh, we have also another one. I'm trying to remember the name. Uh, Fino, Finow, the app I worked with my Indian employer at the time. Yeah, so Finow. It's also on the App Store and on the iOS App Store, Apple App Store, and also on the Google Play Store. Then finally, trying to remember the name now. It's a streaming app, kind of Netflix like, yeah, Keruzo. So you can also look that up
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. Curious.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can look that on the Play Store. Yeah, so I think that's a few that you can check out.
All right, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. It's nice to have you on the call, and we really appreciate your time to share knowledge. And we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. All right.
All right, thank you. So that was Emmanuel Sunday, who shared his experience and story from going from zero to a paid Flutter engineer, who's currently now focused on backend. So there's a lot of community people who have done great stuff and I see doing great things that we can leverage on to reach out. So Emmanuel Sunday is on the community GDG Aba community group on Facebook, and we can always reach out to him for any questions you have for Flutter. So we're going to go into what should have been the first part of our conversation, and that is what Flutter is all about. Intro to Flutter, and that was like the one of the questions that came up during Mr. Manuel's conversation. So let me know what. Okay, no, worry. I'm used to. Let me know you can see my screen, but I know you can see my screen. All right. Let me just go over to Intro to Flutter, and just to share briefly what Flutter is all about, and okay, so I think that will be that. Yeah, I know that you can see my screen. All right, so basically, Flutter is a framework, a Dart framework used to. I'm going to try to be as very simple as possible to accommodate dev people and those who are currently working on other things as developers. So Flutter is a Dart framework, and that is a programming language. And Flutter is a framework of that used to build, as you can see on the screen, beautiful platforms. So this slide was put together by Aditya Arora from the Flutter team at Google. So I'm going to use the slide to just briefly explain, what Flutter is about and how we can begin to utilize Flutter. Hey, that's a lot of, yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. So Flutter, it was developed by Google. So Google owns Flutter, and it is a UI toolkit for building beautiful applications. So beautiful is always like a static keyword whenever we're talking about Flutter, because Flutter gives this beautiful, unique UI design to all its applications, all its widgets. If you can see on the screen, you can use Flutter to build for different use cases. It has support for iOS. You can build for the web. You can build for desktop applications. You can build for Linux. You can build for embedded systems. It's like a write once or a framework that can be used across different places. And that is how powerful Flutter can be. But for some people, they first start out as Android developers with Flutter, and they eventually begin to add iOS to it. Those are also begin to explore with web and the desktop version of Flutter. So once you learn that as a language, you can easily pick up whatever you want to pick up. And Emmanuel mentioned that you can use Flutter for backend as well, which is very interesting. So once you've learned Flutter, you can begin to experiment and explore different areas that Flutter can be applied with. But the unique, or not unique anyways, but the common use case is always, has always been an Android and iOS, and web is beginning to get some dominant. We can use that across these platforms on the screen. And yeah, interestingly, from one code base. So a single code base is basically, where you write your codes. So that basically means you write the code once and you deploy across these all platforms. So unlike what we used to do before cross-mobile platform development came into place, you write for Android and you begin to use Swift or Objective C to write for iOS and write different languages for different devices. But Flutter allows you to write for just one code, and it can deploy in different places, and that's the very beautiful thing that Flutter has. So I'm just going to play this video that gives you, a clarity of some of the things Flutter can do and the endless possibilities of Flutter. Yeah. So that's a brief overview of the kind of beauty that Flutter gives to developers who are building for mobile apps and across mobile apps, as well. So this is this is Dash, and Dash. It's like what's the word to call it? I don't want to call it an icon, but more like a living representation of the Flutter and Dutch mascot. Yeah, it's a mascot for that. So if you were in the beginning of the conversation of the event, you've seen the video that introduces Flutter. So let's take a little bit about briefly about the Flutter's fundament and foundational pillars. That just means what Flutter is built on and the values that Flutter has. So as an Flutter developer or someone who wants to come into Flutter to build mobile applications, you need to understand that Flutter is fast, right? The speed limit, it takes off the speed limit of your applications. Um, when I was still writing Android applications using Java, there was some of lag that came across writing apps with Java and Android Studio. But Flutter gives you very fast app development. Productive, it has so many widgets that make this a little bit easier, fast develop things quickly. It's beautiful. We've seen the video across the different components that designers are beginning to explore, and it's easier to walk around Flutter with making it more beautiful. And it's open source, which means everyone is trying to make it better, and we learn from our mistakes in Flutter and begin to implement it to have a very beautiful and powerful framework to build it. So same code, portable. Same code runs everywhere. It runs on mobile, web, desktop, embedded, cloud, name it. It's portable everywhere. And that is the beauty about Flutter. So one of the product directors of Flutter said that Flutter is the first UI framework designed for an ambient computing world, which basically means Flutter is designed for the future. And the right ones run everywhere in a concept has been one of the leading concept across many software engineering researchers across the globe. And Flutter is at the core of that research to design for the future and build trusted applications. So Flutter is being used by different people over the world. So we have over 200,000 apps that use Flutter, from Toyota to eBay to Grab to Tencent, Alibaba to Ubuntu, BMV, Square, and the rest of them. So Square, the parent company for Twitter, and some other WeChat as well is also here. So as a Flutter developer, you have different community that help to make it better. Even at Google that owns Flutter, they also use Flutter for most of their products and tools like Google One, Google Ads, Blogger, and the rest of them. So you are not wrong if you begin to think about becoming a Flutter developer. There are lots of contributors. It's open source, community is large, and you get support everywhere. So you can build where you want. So for those of us asking if you can only use Android Studio, no, you can use Android Studio, S Code, VS Code, You can use whatever you need to want to use to build, whatever tools you need or you have. You can definitely use it to build with Flutter. So we're really excited about this because you can begin to work from beginner, intermediate to expert in Flutter development. We're working around a program to assist everyone who wants to learn and become a Flutter developer to begin to dive into that very quickly. Okay, so just a moment. Let me get something out. Um, Yeah, so we're going to be sharing resources after the event, for beginner, intermediate programs to expert programs, and you can choose your adventure. So that is in brief what Flutter is all about and what you can do with Flutter and the amazing things that Flutter has in store for everyone. And I don't know if there's any questions. I'm going through the comment section now to find if there's any question. Which language do you use on Flutter? So it's that, yeah, that. Thank you for that link. So that, yeah, so that is a language for Flutter. All right. So if you want to learn how to build Flutter, you have to learn that first, and then begin to move up the ladder to experiment with Flutter. Okay. Yeah. So another thing I want to also mention, is the fact that um, you can use there are lots of misconceptions around you must have a MacBook for you to start using Flutter to build your applications. Well, if you want to experiment with iOS, you actually need a MacBook for certain. I don't know if that has changed now. I'm speaking from the knowledge I have some few many months or years ago, but I don't think that has changed. But if it has changed, I will definitely update on that knowledge. But you can definitely start with mobile applications first. Sorry, Android apps first. If you don't have a MacBook, and then as you begin to proceed, you can begin to get a MacBook and use whatever you want to use to build for iOS. Just a moment. Yep. All right. So, are there any questions around that? If no questions, we're going to go over to just a moment. Okay, let me get this done. Okay. All right. Okay.
All aboard.
So before the next speaker comes in, I want to just quickly talk about for those of us who are not yet on the Slack space for GDG Aba, you need to be on the Slack space. After the event, I will share the Slack space link again for us to join the Slack space. And also, I will also would like to emphasize the fact that The GDG is a global community, across different cities across the globe. And this is GDG Aba. Um, we're focused on the GDG Aba community. And yes, I mentioned about swags. Yeah, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of our conversation. Yeah, so we have a few swags for the community. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. So we have a few swag for the community, but the swags are given based on active participation. I can see some people, actively asking questions on the group and all that. So that's part of the criteria to give us swags and questions that are being asked, and also, yeah, swags. So for those who are not in a bar, I don't know how your swag is going to get to you because our swags are currently in Aba, and for those who are in Aba, can quickly come to the hub to collect their swags. Those who have been selected. So we have T-shirts, we have stickers, we have headbands, and we have mugs and all those things. So a huge chunk of those swags is going to go to those who participate in the app challenge, which I'm going to talk about, before we end the conversation. Segue view. Now you go. Okay, no while when that time reaches, when that time reaches. Okay, so we have the next person online, and that is Mr. Bontus Mayor. I've been seeing Mr. Bontus all over the Flutter space on Facebook groups, sharing what he has been building for a long time. He's a back-end engineer, software engineer, full stack, front-end, back-end, recently entered into Flutter, and I'm happy to have him on the call. So what he's going to do is basically a workshop-like section where he's going to, briefly show us how to build apps on Flutter. So it's not going to be, a really, detailed coding class. Go over you can always go over what's it called, the code labs links are going to be sent, and stuff. Yeah, they come about this evening. All right, so I'm reading the conversation. It's quite funny, but that's fine. So Bontus, you're welcome to the program. So I started to hear what you have to say and how you show us, a brief sample of how to build a simple app with Flutter. And those who are interested can begin to see what they need to do, and we can take it off from there to also help them. You can kick off.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I tell you giving it about internet. Yeah, my name is Pontus Mayor, and I'm going to be guide on playing your first Flutter app. Um, I'm going to talk a little about Flutter. Flutter is a blessing from Google, and I've always been a web developer, but I got bored, and I wanted to do mobile development, and I learned Java, and it was very scary at the time because I wasn't a very programming person. Programming is my headache. I just wanted to be crafting UIs, user interfaces. So 2 years ago, I stumbled on Flutter, and it was very wonderful. And since then, I've been building amazing stuff with it, and I've been playing with it all along. So I'm not going to waste much of your time today. I'm going to show you how to create your first Flutter app. It's quite easy if you've created, if you have been in a web interface, web user technology like Node.js or front end frameworks like that, you understand how it works. So to create a Flutter app, you just have to download Flutter create your terminal, and then for the app you want to create, and you enter, and it starts everything's on files and configuration. Then I'm not going to type it out here because my network is quite shitty and it will take a whole lot of our time. But when you create it, I'm running an app I called Symphonia Test. So let's just say we are creating a app for GDG. So you can just type out GDG Aba. You should take note not to use a minus sign. You have to use an underscore. You don't use a hyphen. It must be an underscore. If you use a hyphen, it will throw an error. So when you click enter, it will create the folder for your project. And this is the folder list for the Flutter app we're trying to create. And you should know that Flutter is a cross-platform UI SDK. So you can use it to create web applications. You can use it to create mobile applications for the Android and the iOS platforms. And recently, they made an upgrade and we can now use it to create Windows apps. So, but we are going to concentrate on the Android for now because this is a GDG event. And we are only going to look at the folders and the files on the lib. We are not going to work outside the lib folder. Okay, first, before we look into the lib folder, we have a file called the pop spec or YAML file. The pop spec or YAML file. If you worked with JavaScript frameworks before, there is a very popular file called the package.json file. So this pop spec of YAML file works the same as the package.json file in JavaScript. It is used for resolving your dependencies. In this project, I'm using three dependencies. I'm using the get dependency, the HTTP dependency, and the cache network image package. The get package is used for state management. It's one of the very popular packages for state management. There are other ones like the river pod and so on, but I prefer using get. And the HTTP package is for requesting resources from the network, while the cache network image is for loading images from the network and catching them on your device. So this project is just a simple project I made to test something I was working on. So the project is just I was trying to see how I could use the get package for a very cumbersome something and how to do an MVC project. MVC is a software architecture, which means a model, view, and controller. Your whole software is separated into the models, the view, and the controller. The model is where you outline what your application needs. Then the view is where you do the UI, while the controllers do the controlling. It just connects your model with your UI. So when we finish this project, we should have something that looks like this. I use the coin market app API to return this and show it in this very beautiful interface I found on Dribble. Am I very audible? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So the first thing we are going to look at is the main.start app. This is the starting point of every Flutter project. The main.start file and everything in Flutter starts here. This main app, especially, it starts here. Every Dart project has a main function, which is the entry point of your project. Hello, can you hear me? I'm receiving
Go.
messages that I'm not audible. Hello, Trust, can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, you can go on now. I think they should hear you now. You can go on.
Okay, sorry, my network is very shitty this afternoon. So as I was saying, every that application has an entry point, which must be a main function. So the main function returns the my app class, and my app class is a stateful widget. In Flutter, we say everything is a widget, and there are two main types of widgets in Flutter: the stateful widget and the stateless widget. The stateful widget are widgets that has state that the framework tries to maintain the states to look out for changes in that widget, while the stateless widget is a widget that doesn't have a state. So there's nothing to look out for. It doesn't look out for changes in that widget. So the main function returns the app, which is a stateful widget, and the app class is where we start our project. The my app class is where we start our project. Sorry, let me widen this so I can see it clearly. So in Flutter, we have widgets that are created that Flutter ships with, and the ones that we can create ourselves. You can create a widget by yourself, and there are widgets that are shipped with Flutter. As I said earlier, everything in Flutter is a widget. The scaffold you see here is a widget also. If you do control and click on the scaffold, you can see that it is a stateful widget. So, and this my homepage is also a widget, but a widget I created myself. So as I said, you can create a widget by yourself, or you can use a widget created that Flutter ships with. When that's my homepage, it's a widget, but I created this myself. So everything in Flutter is a widget. It's something you can always you see always and get used to. So as I said, in Flutter, the first speaker mentioned something about state management. So it's a very important part of Flutter development. You can use a simple set state to manage your state in your application, or you can use the get package. I initialize the get package here to manage your state if you want a more controlled to control your code more. So when you look at a debug show check banner, I set it to false. When you start a Flutter project, it automatically has this to true. You will see the banner on the top right corner of your emulator or your phone. You can set it to false. You have to run along. You set the title of your app. When you hover on Get Material app, you will see so many options that you can use to customize your project. There are a lot of functions like the title. You can set the color. You can set a lot of things, the theme, a lot of things for customization. Then we have the home. In the home, we are returning a scaffold. A scaffold is just like an empty building block for a Flutter application. When you initialize a scaffold widget, you just see a white background or any color that you choose to. When you hover on scaffold, you can see so many things. You can provide an app bar, provide a body, provide a drawer for menu, provide a floating action button for other actions. So in our application, when you look at the screenshot I showed earlier, our application has four menus here. And when you click on this, it goes to another menu. You click on this, goes to another menu. Here goes to another menu. So this is done in the bottom navigation bar. So this is the widget responsible for that functionality. So you can see the icon bar, the first item on our menu, then the web bar, the second item on our menu, and the notification bar, the third item. You can see them all here. So as I mentioned earlier, I was trying to learn how to do the MVC project, how to use an MVC in my project. So you can see a controller here, a model here, and pages represents my view. So the controller, the model is where I stipulated all the properties my application will need. So when you look, when you check the com market API, you have see all these. So I represented them here. Then initialize them here. This is a method that code. You state a class, then you initialize the class here. It must have the same name. The coin function. The name of the function must be the same with the name of the class here. So this is the initialization. Then I set a factory to convert it from JSON and another factory to convert it to JSON. So this is how a model looks like. I'll provide it GitHub repo so you can check it out anytime you want and ask questions on the group. So this is what a model looks like. Then we have our services too. This is a HTTP service. This is where I use the HTTP package to call this API and pass the API. And I'm saying if the call is successful, this is the code status code for success, and I return the body and converted it from JSON. This JSON conversion was from our model. Then I converted it from JSON because the body returns a JSON. Then I convert it from JSON and return it. Then this the data returned here is used on our controller. The controller is where I initialized our get state package. Then the loading is for when you start the application before the information from com market API comes is loaded. There is a loading animation. So this is where I check. In getters, we have to set this loading to an observable. And also the list that will be returned is an observable array. This is an observable boolean, and this is an observable array. So we call the fetch whenever our app starts. That is the on init. Whenever we are initializing this widget, we automatically call the fetch coin, the fetch coin function. This fetch coin function, and this fetch coin function, we checked if it's loading is true, then we are calling the API, which we wrote on the HTTP site. And if we set the data we get here, we set it to the coin variable. And if the data is not empty, we are setting the value of the observable to the data we fetched from the API. So finally, we are setting the loading to false. So this is basically a very basic idea of what a controller looks like. So back, we now go to our view on the home page. In when using a a get state management, we use this widget. This is a widget that ships with get X package. We use this widget to check for observables. So that is why we wrapped a whole functional code in this project on the observable. And we are checking if it's loading, the value of is loading. So if the value of is loading is true, we are setting this circular progress indicator. That means you see a circular progress indicator rolling. And when this is set to false, we now return a widget called silver list. Silver list is a widget. I'm not going to talk about explain widgets now. You can read about it on. I'll provide a link on the GitHub. You read about all these widgets. So we present a silver list to list all the informations provided by the API. So when you look through the code, you see we are returning an image. We are taking the index of the particular array we are on, the array returned by the API, and we are returning the image of each of the data. Then when we go, we are returning also the market cap change percentage, and a lot of. I just choose the information randomly, the price, and a lot of. When you go through the code, you have a basic understanding of how to use a get state package, how to create a widget, and how to model your application to use an MVC. Advantages of an MVC is when you are working on a very large project, a particular team can be devoted to working just on the controllers. So the team working on the view doesn't need to know what the team working on the controllers are doing. So they just have to use the functions provided by the team working on the controllers to build that UI. And if you are a solo developer, if I want to make changes to the code on my services, it won't affect the code on my current app. And it helps you with testing when you're testing the app. I didn't do any testing on this app because the time for this is very short. So I won't go into testing. But the very benefits of the MVC architecture is for these things I've just mentioned. Then back to the pop spec.yaml file. To add packages to your Flutter project, I use an extension that is called the pop spec assist. The pop spec assist. When you use the pop spec assist, let me show you how it's done. So I click the Control Shift B, and this is the pop spec assist. And I want to add a package. Let me say I want to add a package called SDK. I don't know if it exists. So you can see down here that it's added a package called SDK. When I check our prospect.yaml file, okay, it's the package of SDK. So the advantage of this extension is you don't have to go to pub.dev every time you open it. You just add the app, click on Control Shift C, then type in the package you want, and it looks for the version of that package and add into your prospect.yaml file. I'll provide a link to this project So you can look at it and ask any questions if you have any. Sorry, the time is limited and my network is really helping to dive in a lot of things. So when you look at this project, let me touch one more thing. When you look at this project, there is a controller, there is a model, there is pages, and I added another folder called the utils. When you open the utils, there is a file called colors of that. Basically, when I write a Flutter program, when you want to uh, state the color of an app, you have to do something like call class, the color class, then you do the colors for display. But I find it very tedious to always type out colors every time I want to add the color. So that is why I added the colors of that. I just have to use the color I want, then do the typing in here. So I just call out the colors in my project. I don't have type colors all the time. So that is the functionality of the utils folder. It's just a convention. You can name it anything you want. But you use the folder to add utilities. Like if I want to convert, do some conversions, maybe convert dollar to naira. I want to have that function somewhere. So I have to always write it anytime I want it. So any reusable function you will use throughout your application, you add it to your utils folder. So this is basically how to write a Flutter project. You should keep in mind that basically as a starter, you don't have any business with all these folders. You only concentrate with the lead folder and you start out in the main .dat file. And if you want to run this project, you go to on VS Code. On the top left corner, there is a run and run debugging, and there is a run without debugging options. So when you do a run debugging function, sorry, let me connect my phone so we can see it. My phone is connected. For the first time, when you connect to your phone, if it will ask you to give it developer permissions. I cannot use an emulator on this particular system. It's a 4 gig RAM, so automatically it up my RAM space, frees up my computer. So when I connect my phone, when you look down, you see a no device option here, and currently now my device is showing here. So to run this application, I just have to do a run and choose the run without debugging option. Then you can see my application starts run. When you do this for the first time, it will take a lot of time, and you should have your data on. There's a lot of things that are going to be downloaded, so you have to be patient. But after the first run, the preceding runs will take a lot of time. But if you have you seen the errors? So when you try it on your own, keep your data on. Okay, my hand is complaining of the SDK I just added. So when you run it on your own, hopefully it runs well. If it doesn't, you can hit me up on the group so I can help you sort it out. So this is basically how to start an app, build out an app on Flutter. Thank
Yeah,
you very much. I think
thank you
it
very much,
is.
Pontus Mayor. We really
Any
appreciate the time
questions?
you took out to walk around that. Yeah, so I will take out questions per minute, but just to summarize what you've been presenting for a long time. So basically, this code that you wrote, the end result was the screenshot you showed us earlier, right? What does it do?
The what?
The app, the code that you wrote, what's the app doing? What does the app do?
Okay, the app is just, I use it for example. It just takes information from the Coin App API. Coin Market App is a Bitcoin website, a website that markets Bitcoin. So it takes information from the Coin Market App and displays it on my own application.
All right. So
So when you look at the screenshot I
yeah,
showed,
you use the API. I'm guessing. Yeah.
so when you look at the screenshot I showed, you can see Tether, Ethereum, Bitcoin, blah blah blah, and so on and so on.
So it's more like you consume the
And
API to display this information on the app, correct?
yeah,
All right, all right, all right. That's fine. So you also had a GitHub repo for this project, right?
yeah, I will upload the GitHub on the group.
All right, all right, all right. Fantastic, fantastic. So, for the most of those who are watching, will not really grab everything, but they will definitely rewatch it again and understand what you are trying to say. And with the help of the GitHub repo, it's all going to make more sense. So thank you very. I don't let me look at if there are any questions, but I doubt there are any questions. Um, okay, sorry, voice is cracking. All right. I think there are no questions, which I'm guessing they'll definitely have questions once they, watch the replay and get to understand what we're trying to do. So there has been a couple of links
Thank
shared
you.
on the comment section. Yeah, thank you very much, Bantus. There has been
Thank you.
some links shared on the comment section that brings out what Bot is trying to do here. So one is a code lab by the Google team on how to build your first Flutter app. The other one, it's a video that easily does it just like Bondus is doing now. And then Bondus is going to share the GitHub link that makes sense of what he's trying to understand. So for those who are beginners, it may not make sense, but I would advise you go to the code lab first and try to understand what is happening. And if you get stuck, that is why I was asking if we are in the Slack channel or the Facebook group, ask your questions. Either Emmanuel, either Bontus, either Promise, anyone in the community who's a Flutter expert can answer your questions. So that's I just wanted to give us a feel of what it means to write code on Flutter using VS Code, just to see the interface and how to work around that. We're very close to the end of this, but lastly, I mentioned that there is someone who's building an app with Flutter and has launched on the Play Store. I want to talk about the app and what the app does. So the app currently has 10,000 users, and I asked about revenue, and revenue is actually quite impressive for just an app like that. So he couldn't make it here, but he sent us a recording of him explaining the application. And as a community, we want to give him, support by going to the Play Store, downloading the app, and seeing how the app works and giving our reviews and feedback. All right. So just a moment, I'm going to bring up Promise on stage. And Promise is going to discuss briefly what this app does and how we can support the application.
Hi, everyone. My name is Promise.
Unless you confirm if If the video has a sound, can you hear a sound on the video? Okay, I don't think the volume. I don't think so. No sound. Okay. Okay. All right. Just a moment. Let me fix that.
Going to learn about a new product called My Flight. Hi everyone, my name is Promise Amadi. I'm a software engineer. In today's product showcase, we are going to learn about a new product called My Flight. I know most of you here may not have heard about this product called My Flight or what it does, but I can assure you at the end of this product showcase, you'll get to learn about this mobile solution called My Flight and how it can be of essential to you. So the next question you ask is, what is My Flight? My Flight is a mobile solution that helps individuals plan and purchase their flight ticket easily. The essence of this mobile solution is to ease the stress people go through while trying to purchase or plan their trips. So with this mobile solution, you can easily plan and purchase your flight ticket easily on your mobile phone. The mobile solution is currently available on Google Play Store. So if you have your Android device, simply open your Google Play Store, search for the app, and you will get the app. The app has more than 10,000 downloads as I'm speaking with you. It has more than 37 reviews from different individuals who have used the solution. For Apple users, they are not left out because the app is also available for Apple users. So if you have your iPhone, you can check the app on your Apple Store and get to use the app. So I'm going to demonstrate how the app works so that you can have a clearer picture of how you can use the app. Okay, this is the app on my iPhone. So this is how it looks like once you download and install the app on your device. Since I don't have an account, so I'm going to create a new one. To create a new account, I have to click on this sign up button. Then I have to enter my name. Then I'll enter my email address. I have to enter my phone number. The last part is my password. For this demo purpose, I'm going to use this dummy password, but after this, I'm going to change it. So I have to click on sign up button to complete the sign up process. Once I've signed in successfully, you will see it will say good evening promise. Then where do you want to go to? For me, I want to travel from Owerri to Abuja. Date 21st of March. So I'm the only person traveling. So if I'm more than two or if I'm two persons traveling, I will select two passengers. But for now, I'm the only person, the only adult traveling because I'm above 12 years. But if I'm below 12 years, I'll go for child and infant. So I'll click on search. Okay, the app has shown me like five flights available. So these are the flights available going from Owerri to Abuja. We have Epis, Dana. So I know most of you here may not know that with this app you can search and see different prices, different times, and different airline going to a particular direction. And with this, you can know how much they are selling the ticket. So this app gives you um, a better way to plan your trip. So let me go with the first option, which is Epis. Once I select the flight, this is the flight info. Then when I click on this drop down, it will give me a better understanding about the flight I'm going to travel with. I can see the flight number, I can see the departure time, I can see the arrival time. So I can see that the duration for the trip is 1 hour, 5 minutes. So I'll click on this button below here, which is book flight. So once I click on this button, it will load the details. So because of I've registered before, then this is why you are saying this passenger. So I have to delete it so you can get to understand the process. I'll click on this add passenger, then I'll select title, I'll select date of birth. I'll use a default, a dummy date of birth, but I have to enter my new date of birth if I'm the one traveling. So take note of that. Name of passenger, promise, surname, phone number, email address, then gender, male, passenger traveling, passenger type, adult. Then I have to check this terms and conditions. So you have to go through the terms and conditions to understand what it's all about. Please, I want you to take note of something. These names and surnames are important. So whenever you're filling any flight ticket, please make sure that the name and the surname are correct, because the airline will ask for your ID card to confirm that you are the person traveling. So please take note of the names and the name you are filling on the app. So I have to click on this add passenger to add the passenger. So once I'm done, I'll select the passenger, click on proceed to book flight. So the app will book the flight for me. Okay, perfect. The app has booked the flight for me already. It is asking if I want to use my bonus. Yes, of course. So you see that the app has three major payment options. So you can either pay with bank transfer, pay with Flutter Wave, or pay with Monify. So let's start with the last option, which is pay with Monify. Once I click on that option, it will show me the Monify interface for me to enter my card details. So you can see that this is the name of the app, the name of the platform. This is the name of my email address. So this is the amount I have to pay. Then I have to go back. Let's take a look at Flutter Wave. Okay, so this is how the Flutter Wave interface looks like. So I've seen the amount, my email address. This is the logo of the company. So I have to enter my card details, then everything, then click on pay now to pay for the flight and get it directly to my email address and on my app. So let's try the last, the amount I have to. So I can see it has 11 hours 770 minutes before it expires. So you are required to pay this amount before this time elapses. Then while making payments, you have to use this booking reference as your remark, so that once they receive the alert, they will know that, yeah, this is the person that paid for this ticket and this is the ticket he paid for. To this number on WhatsApp. So you have to pay, then copy or save your evidence of payment and forward it to this number on WhatsApp, so that they can forward the ticket to you. Okay, I'll click on go back to home. So the app will return me back to this initial screen. So I'll go to my bookings, then I will see this booking already, because this is the recent booking I've done. Then I'll see that this booking has 11 hours 56 minutes before it expires. Then I'll see that it's APs Owerri to Abuja, duration 1 hour 5 minutes. Then the date for departure. Then this is the date, the time, and the number of the flight. So you can see below here that it shows me the amount and a button for me to book flight. So once I click on this button, still have an option to pay with the card payment. So you can pay with the card. If you don't want to pay with bank transfer, you can come back to this screen, then complete that process. So let's go back to my account. Um, My bonus is still valid because I've not used it. I've not done any payment yet. This is the number of airlines I've flown with. This is the number of trips I've taken. Zero for now. So if I want to reach out to the company or to the support team of this mobile solution, I can easily do that using the um, using this support channel on the app. So once I click on it, it will load the interface. So this interface will show me um, how to make my complaint or how to channel my complaint. So I have to click on this new conversation. So once I click on it, I have to start a conversation with the agent on board. So I can write my complaint, then send it. They will reply to me as fast as possible. Then I can share the app with my friends, my family, my peer group, so they can get to know about the app and also use the app to book their trip easily. Then I'll click on this logout to exit from my account and it will return me back to this initial screen. So I hope with this demonstration and I hope you can comfortably use the app and also share with your friends what the app is all about and how it can be of essential to them. Thank you so much for your time and have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Promise. That was a very beautiful project showcase. So Mr. Promise is part of the community, and he just demonstrated the app he built um, called My Flight. So My Flight is a flight booking application for travel, where you can easily book. It's my flight app with Flutter. Of course, definitely that's why. So, Promise, there are questions for you. I would like you to answer those questions. So let's start from this first one from Val. Is this my flight app built with Flutter? Are you there, Mr. Promise? Did you get?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Good day.
Yeah, yes, yes. So the first question we have from Mr. Val is: my flight app is it built with Flutter?
The answer is yes. It's built with Flutter.
Amazing. So so that is the one code base for Android and iOS, correct?
Yeah.
All right, making sense. I mean, I saw lots of things happening in the applications. From the customer support, from the booking, flow, and all of the designs. It's very cool. So I mean, we see that Flutter gives beautiful UI, and you can see that heavily in what you did with the My Flight app. So on average, and if you would like to share with us how long it took to build something you push to the market, not the entire product that exists now, how long did it take you to build the My Flight app with Flutter?
Okay. Basically, it took me like a week to design because the first challenge was finding a perfect
Oh, you say a
UI.
week.
Okay, I said it took me a week to design the UI because I was
Wow.
looking for a UI that would be much easier for people to navigate. But writing the code just took me like close to 2 days to write everything. So the challenge that I had was finding a perfect UI that people can use easily. So
So you
it's very
said
easy
one
to build
week for the
because once I
UI
built the app,
and 2 days for the code.
s- so I didn't hear.
You said it took you one week to build the UI and it took you 2 days to write the code.
Yeah, because I had to design the UI because there was a lot of UIs that we are too competing. So I had to design the UI using Figma for to get the flow I need. So once I had the UI designed already, so I had to start coding because once you have a UI, you have a channel of where you are going to, what you want to do. So that is the stuff.
That's quite mad. I mean, like the things I saw in there were quite not really advanced, but they're quite cool. for 2 days coding sprints. That's nice. So I also saw that it had payment feature inside it. So can you just briefly tell us what payment gateways that my flight app use? I know I saw Monify, I saw Flutter. Is that the two?
Okay, you said you saw Modify and Flutter. Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, my Flutter Wave, brother. I'm like, what payment gateway did you integrate in the my flight app? How can we make payments if you want to book our flights?
Okay, there are two basic major payment system on the app, which is Flutter Wave and Monify. I know Monify might be a kind new to people who are listening, but here in Lagos, Monify is a big payment system. But I know most people might have heard about Flutter Wave. Flutter Wave is just like payment system like Monify. So it is easy to implement. They have their will I say their plugins available for Flutter. So once you add the plugin and the payment gateway grant you access to their platform to use their keys, it's easy to use. So those payment system is used to accept payment. So you can pay with your card and get your ticket sent to you instantly.
All right, nice. So this question we have from the Facebook group says, what does it take to launch an app on the Play Store?
Okay, to launch an app on Play Store, first of all, you need to have a Play Store. You have to buy a Play Store account. So you have to purchase that one first. So once you purchase a Play Store account, what you need to do is just build your app to distribute your app to Play Store account. Then you have to write some like I say some write up. They used to call it like a short description, a long description about your app, then screenshots. Then they will request you to send a privacy link about your app. So those are the basic things needed. So once you complete those stuff, it won't take you like roughly a day to get your app available on Play Store. Play Store is quite easy compared to Apple Store because Apple Store has to do with a lot of um, it's quite complicated compared to Google Play Store. So Play Store is quite easy. So once you purchase the account, then you can set up your app rolling.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Yeah. So I wanted to ask, I know that Google Play Store has a fee attached to it, and Apple Store has a fee attached to it. Can you like explain how the fee works? I know that I heard that Apple Store has a subscription based. Is it per app or is it per month? And what's the difference between both of them in terms of payment?
Hello.
Yeah, did you get my question? I was asking. I know that Google Play Store has a fee you have to pay before you upload your app, and Apple Store has as well. So I was asking, what is the difference? What's the payments like? Is it per app, or you pay monthly, or what's the payment method like?
Okay, for Google Play Store, once you make the payment, it's just for a lifetime. You don't need to pay again. But Apple is $100 or $99. So which is amount to 50,000 naira. So once you make that payment, it's done yearly. It expires at the end of every year, so you have to renew for Apple Store. But for Google Play Store, it's only once, which is around 12,000 naira or thereabouts.
12,000 naira for Play Store.
Yeah, why for Apple is around 50,000 naira, which is done yearly. But Google Play Store, once you make the initial payment of 12,000 naira, you don't need to pay again. Just once in a lifetime.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so let me see if I have any other question here. So the question says, you designed UI yourself?
I'll say yes, I did this because I don't have a lot of finance to reach out to a UI designer, so I had to do it myself. So, but the best approach is just to reach out to a UI designer that will craft it for you. Then you do the coding part. But in a way, there is no money. You have to find a way to do some stuff.
Yeah, I grab. I use Figma to do it. Huh?
Yeah, I used to.
All right, that's fine. So this is the last question I want to take from here. Apart from my flights, do you have any other app you built with Flutter?
Yeah, there are a lot of apps I've built with Flutter. The first one was Biveg. It's a company in USA. It has to do with something like vintage. So the app uses your phone camera to assess the drink you are buying to tell you if this drink is vintage. You know, some of these people in West, they do this vintage stuff. Here in Africa, we don't do this vintage vegetarian stores. So
Yeah.
the app helps you to find out if the drink you're buying is for vegetarians or not. So that was the first one I did. Then the other one I did is an app called Magic, which was last year. So Magic is an app for talent hunt. Then there's another app which I'm doing with a South African company, which is called Kido. It's a dating app for Africa. So you can check out all those apps. They're available on Google and Apple Store.
All right, that makes sense. You forgot to mention GDG Dev Fest about
That is true. That is true. That is true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This last question. Someone's asking, how do people make money from uploading Play Store? Because there's this conception that once you upload the app on the Play Store, people it gets paid per download. If someone is asking how do people make money on Play Store? What are the different ways to make money? If you want to upload your app on Play Store.
Okay, there are two ways to make money. One is either through subscription or through ads. So there are some apps that you download, they won't ask you for payment. It's just a free apps. But normally you notice that most of these apps will be showing ads. So those ads is where the developer or the company in charge makes their money. But there are some apps that you will download, you won't see any ad. So if you want to purchase anything on the app, they'll ask you to pay, or they'll ask you to pay a subscription of 1 month or thereabouts. So most of these dating apps does that. Most dating apps will ask you to pay a subscription of, let me say, 1,000 naira. So you won't you're able to chat with people on the app for 1 month. While some will ask you to buy a product, so on that product they will add a commission fee to make money from it. While some will show you ads, so those ads, the company that is running the ad will pay the developer. So that is where some people makes money from uploading apps on Play Store or App Store.
Yeah, that summarizes the whole method. So you can probably go and do other research on how to make money as an app developer by uploading applications. So thank you, Promise. So for those of us who are about to travel, want to go use flights and travel, don't forget to download my flight app or tell people who you know that travel regularly to download and use my flight app. So basically, Promise, the flights are domestic flights, right?
Yeah, currently we are still operating domestic, but we are modifying the apps to accommodate international travels. So I hope before the year runs out, that service will be available. It's just a gradual process.
All right, no wala. Do you need are you interested? I know you mentioned, you like to have people to, to join my flight team. So that people are listening that are eager to see how they can contribute to my flight.
Yeah, everybody's like for instance, we are currently looking for a digital marketer. So
All right.
the flyer is available on Rad Five community. So if you go to Rad Five community, you see the flyer there. Then look at the link to apply. There are a lot of applications. We have received tons of applications. But it's never too late. So you can submit your own application and join the team.
Yeah. So if you know someone who's good at app marketing or software marketing that wants to join the my flight team to build, the easiest way to travel, you can reach out to Promise on the GDG group, either on the Facebook or on the WhatsApp group. So sorry, this is the last question I want to say before we round up. It's almost 12. Um, okay, I know we could have touched this earlier, but yeah, I want to just give your input into this. It says, how long will it take me to start a career in Flutter? I'm very serious on having access to steady power internet access, have the same background of Flutter but lack direction. So briefly, what will you tell Tochi that wants to get started with Flutter? How long will it take him to not really master, but have like, you know, um, like a starting point with a Flutter? How will you answer this question very, very briefly?
Okay, I will say it depends on how serious you are. That is one. How determined you are. So some people can say a month, 3 months, but the best approach to learn. I would say is that just go online, look for a project. Like for instance, you can start with a to-do list, then build it. Then once you build that to-do list, you can say, okay, since I've done this, let me add something to it. So once you say, okay, let me add, since this thing is for test, let me add something like audio to that to do. So you will have to learn how to do that. So while learning, you are getting to move to different curves, which you have not done. But if you focus on using only videos, you will not get that process. So while you are learning, try to build a real life project. It might be too small, but um, by the time you finish up, you see that you have gone so far compared to other people that are watching only videos. So it just depends on you. You have to be learning and also trying to practice what you are learning. So that will help you out.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I asked a question on the YouTube channel live comments. Okay, let me see if I can find that question. You can ask the question again on Facebook, please. But let me find a way to see if I can get that. Okay. I think I've answered all the questions. I don't know if there's a new question. Please, if there's a new question I can't find, then just type the question again here so I can easily ask Mr. Promise while he's still here. You can ask it again,
Then I
please.
can I can point out something like the person that is asking how to start a project. If you just go to Google search, then type Promise Amadi, you will see most of the articles are written about. So they are hands-on practice. So you can use most of them to learn how to start up. So if you have any issues, you can see the
Yeah.
GitHub link attached to those posts. So that will help you out to build some project.
Yeah, that as I forgot that too. So Promise also contributes to the Flutter community on Medium. So he has a lot of articles, like articles of articles around different are there free platforms to push out apps as a developer? Free platforms. So sorry, lastly, Promise, no verse. Lastly, just answer this question.
Okay.
Are there free platforms to push out apps as a developer? Google is paid, Apple is paid. Are there free ones? Any idea about that?
I've heard about this platform called, I think Snapchat has their own platform, but I've not tried it to push out. But I know there are some
Sorry, you use Snapchat?
yeah, Snapchat. You can upload
Oh,
apps on
really?
Snapchat. Yeah. So they have developer console for something like that. So I would say there are some free. It's free, but the only thing is just that if you are uploading your apps there, you won't reach a large amount of market. That is the truth. So if you have to go to a particular website, then upload your APK, you might only get like 10 or 5 downloads. But if you have to upload on the Google Play Store, you get a lot of users. That is the advantage of using those platforms that are mainstream.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Promise. I appreciate your time. I really appreciate your time too. We can always reach out to you on the community via GDG WhatsApp group and also on the Facebook group as well. Sorry, okay, how do you communicate? I don't know if that maybe you can go through the Facebook, comment section later and answer a few questions concerning my flight app. Someone's asking how do you communicate bookings to the flight company and all those things. So you can maybe, if you feel like asking those questions, you can answer them on the comment section. So thanks a lot, Promise, for coming today. I appreciate
Okay,
it. Really
I will
appreciate
say something quick.
it. Okay, very
I will
quickly,
say
please.
something quick to that. Okay. What I would say is that the app is automated, so you don't need to worry. Like once you book your listing, it goes directly to the airline. So it's not like something you just do, and it's just like giving you the power to book the ticket by yourself. So once you are booking, the airline is seeing you booking directly. So you don't need to worry about if the airline is seeing it or not. So that is what I can say. And thanks for the time.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Promise. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, so we're done, almost coming to the end of this conversation. I just wanted to share something very quickly to emphasize what Emmanuel Promise and you know Mr. Bontus has mentioned. And this on the screen is one of the problems that developers are having, especially in this part of the world. Nobody's building products. We're all doing projects, and projects are not products. Products are projects. It's kind of confusing, sure. But the point is that we all need to build products, and not necessarily because we want to do startup, but because we want to build something people are using. That's the way you grow as a developer. Not really about learning Udemy courses, YouTube courses. It's about what are you building, and not what are you learning. Because what you're building determines, sorry, what you're building determines to a large extent, what you're going to learn to build what you want to build. And the more you build, the more you learn, and the more you actually dive into production, anxiety that really happens when you're actually working for, real-time companies. So for developers who are aspiring to become real engineers and those who are already in the development space, please build products. It doesn't matter how little it is, build products. If an Android developer, just try as much as possible to build an app on the Play Store, even if it's a joke app or something very small. Just push something on app people are using. If you're a web developer, try to push something online. Just build products. What are the difference between projects and products? Okay, let me just answer that quickly. So, in this context, right? In this context, projects on a normal project management definition, projects are temporary endeavors that have starting end and starting and ending dates. And in the context of my conversation here, when I say developers build products, not projects, projects may not have a defined purpose or use. So someone can do a to-do list project because he's learning a YouTube video on how to learn. Maybe he wants to learn React, and the project for learning is to do a to-do list or an e-commerce page because he wants to learn React. So it has a starting date and ending date. So once the YouTube there it has ends, the project ends there. But products are continuous. When I'm done with the project inside the product, okay, I think I probably have to explain in a different, on a different Facebook community webinar. But the point is, project in this case, when the coding ends, people still use it afterwards, and you keep maintaining the products. Projects may not be usable, but products are usable. I think that's like the easier way to say what I'm trying to say in the context of project and projects. Other people have projects on GitHub, lots of projects, but none of them are products that are being used by people. Why people have projects that are not products into the market people are using. So, for example, my flight app was a project, but it's a product and it's people are using. So that is why I come waiting for the answer. So that's why I'm trying to say that developers should move beyond the project-based learning and go into product-based learning. And I'm going to share more details about that, on the community most later. So that is we're actually having a plan, to host a product. I won't call it competition, but like a hackathon or some sort where we all come together and find a way to tackle solution ideas across different technologies, see how we can scale those products across users. All right, so this is where we come to the end of Flutter Festival Aba 2022. It was meant to be a physical event, yeah, but we had the reason to make it virtual, and the reason, to my opinion, has been achieved. And the other purpose is for us to comfortably hold the Flutter App Challenge coming up very soon. And that is a 2 weeks challenge. After this session ends, before Monday, we're going to be sharing a form for those who are interested to fill the link to join the competition. So we're going to give out prizes, from swag to paid courses and a few cash prizes for people who actually submit the ideas. So it is not only for those who are experts, it is for those who want to build products. Let's say products. For those who want to build products, those who really want to learn while giving guidance, using the code lab and all that. We're going to talk about that much later. But about swags, so I mentioned that we're going to be having criteria for swag, and those swags to a large extent for Flutter Festival is going to be one, active participation. Why on the just a moment. Active participation. Why on the events, and those who would win a few prizes from the hackathon. There is no virtual unless I want to show you a picture of food and item 7 online. But I don't that they're not okay at the metaverse. I don't know, people metaverse is close to real life. Probably once we hold Dev Fest, or probably another event on the metaverse sometime 2 years from now, we'll definitely find a way to add food virtually. But now there is no virtual item server. So we are going to be selecting three people for the swag prizes, those who have been active in the conversation this afternoon stroke morning. And the other prizes will be given out to those who join the mobile app challenge. So Flutter Festival is not just a one-day event. We want to extend it to 2 weeks, the event and then the hackathon. So on my list, I have three people who have been active from 10 o'clock to now 12 o'clock on the group. And those are the people who are going to be giving out the Swags Festival. Then I just hope say when they are back, that's the, I don't, if not they are back like this, I don't know how we'll take run up, but we'll find a way to fix that. So we have one, Fidelis, YBC, Val, Peter, and Rafael Emmanuel. So these are the people who have been active on the conversations, and those are the people who get the swags. So we swags, I don't want to give a choice selection, but we'll select for give now. We'll find a way to reach out to you guys individually on Facebook and find a way to give out the swags. So that's all. But most of the other freebies in the community will come when the apps are being developed on this on the challenge. So that's all I have from my own end and from the team at GDG Aba. Are there any questions, general questions? Mention the names, I beg. I mentioned them. They mentioned them again. Fidelis, YBC, Val, Peter, Rafael, Emmanuel. These are the three people who have been active. So, and then we're definitely going to walk around that. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. I don't know if we, it's in a backpack. Calm down, calm down. So I don't know if there are any last minute questions, reminders, or questions. But above all, I want us to join the community. I want us to, um, be active. I want us to do lots of things as well and begin to grow our developer ecosystem, not just in Aba, but the whole of Abia State and then Africa in general. Thank you very much and have a nice day or weekend coming abroad. This is Flutter Festival Aba.
Passengers. Special announcement. New destination.